Hey everyone, Chris Sawyer. This is the Varietal Show, and it's back. Great to see you all, and we are here at Domaine Carneros. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. If you don't know Domaine Carneros, it's about bubbles, and as we're going to find out, about still wines as well. This is my great friend Remi Cohen, and Remi, you've taken over for Eileen Crane, who is one of the divas of bubbles in America, and what a great friend of ours. And the great thing is I've known Remi for a long time. I've known her, and this is Carneros, so we're talking about a lower Napa Valley in the cool climate region here that is great for growing Chardonnay and Pinot Noir grapes, and Pinot Blanc, but we can't go into that. We don't have enough time to go into that today. But Remi, here we are. This is great. Congratulations once again for you becoming such a great person here, and a person that really contributes. You've been contributing to Carneros for a long time. You love this area, don't you?
I love Carneros, that's true. So I started my career in Carneros in 2001, actually, working at Saintsbury Winery, and that's about when I first met you. Yep,
which is Saintsbury from here. It's about a mile that way. So that's what we're kind of looking out here. Fireplace right behind us here. Great vineyards spread out over here. You just basically have to come to Domaine Carneros to really see how beautiful it is. This building in here, this interior area, this wasn't here back when the place was first started. It's become even cooler because it's popular, you guys. Bubbles are popular. And speaking of which, we better start getting right into this. So what we wanted to do today is kind of talk about Pinot Noir and why Pinot Noir is so important here, where Pinot Noir has gone also at Domaine Carneros and in Carneros overall. So Carneros is once again really influenced by the winds coming out of the Petaluma Gap, which come directly here, and also the bay, which is just a few miles this way, directly south of us. You also worked at Bouchain, where you had a great vineyard there that you could actually see the bay right there. I mean, it's not far, is it?
It was one of the most southernmost winery in Napa, in fact, and it's not far from here, so we really do benefit from the marine influence of the San Pablo Bay.
Yeah, and it does very well for bubbles, too. So if you don't know the whole fact about bubbles, when you pick these grapes to make sparkling wines, and in case our version of champagne here, because it is owned by a champagne company, these are the first grapes to be picked. They have to be nice and ripe and have great flavor to them, but they also have to have high acidity, and that's a really key thing. And this is a great area for that, isn't it?
Absolutely. In fact, when Claude Tattinger from the founding family of Domaine Carneros, the Tattinger family behind Champagne Tattinger, when he visited the Carneros region on a sales trip here in California, he fell in love with Carneros because of its cool temperatures and cool climate. And he knew it would be a great region for growing Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. And at that time, he said, "My dream is to someday have a sparkling wine house here in the Carneros region."
Go figure. I'm glad he made that decision. I think we all are.
Me too.
Here we are. We're drinking a pink wine. Oh my God, you guys. Oh my God, it's pink. 15 years ago, if we were drinking pink wine, people would think we're probably drinking something sweet. Things have changed if you didn't get the memo. Pink wines are completely part of American culture now, and it is an amazing thing that we get to really examine them, and especially when they're made with Pinot Noir. So tell us a little bit about this first wine, and obviously this is something that everyone can get out there a little bit more than the other ones that we're going to talk about. But this is a Cuvee de la Pompadour, and it is a beautiful, lovely, lovely color of pink. Tell us a little bit about the making of this wine. And you can see the great, fabulous hue there, everyone.
Absolutely. So Cuvee de la Pompadour is named after Madame Pompadour, who was a courtesan in the French court under Louis XV. But what we really appreciate about her history is that she is the one who popularized champagne in the court of Versailles. And she's famous for saying that champagne is the only beverage a woman can drink and remain beautiful. Oh. So this is an homage to her. She was also a major patron of the arts. And this wine is inspired by her artistry and everything that she contributed to the French courts. So when we make this wine, Zach Miller is our sparkling winemaker. He trained with Eileen since 2008. And Eileen is still consulting with us on the winemaking, which is really fabulous. And
Love
we get,
her.
some Eileen time still. And interestingly enough, this wine is about 60% Pinot Noir and 40% Chardonnay.
Yep.
So what people don't know about sparkling wine is that we can make a white wine using red grapes by pressing them right when they get to the winery. So the Chardonnay and most of the Pinot Noir gets pressed right away and makes a beautiful pale color. But what Zach does is that some of the Pinot Noir, he de-stems like he was going to make a regular still wine, leaves it in the tank for just a couple days, and then drains that free run, the wine that just drains freely, and has like a really beautiful bright pink color.
Yep.
And we blend it in with the Chardonnay and the Blanc de Noir style Pinot Noir to get the perfect color for this wine before we go down a bottle.
That's great. Well, it is lovely wine. I mean, it's got great flavor. I mean, there's a lot of those red fruits. Classic red fruit character from Carneros is definitely cherry, and it's got that little red cherry kind of components, but it's got some nice plum. I've even got some a little bit of peach in here too, and especially on the nose. And it's just so pretty, you know. I mean, this is something, you know. Right now we're talking about the holidays, but isn't every day a holiday, everyone? It can be, especially when you got good bubbles. And I think that's one of the wonderful things is, you know, sparkling wine and food are, I mean, it's a match made in heaven. It's as easy, I mean, I'll say that this is one of those things. You can do a lot of great culinary pairings and everything, but champagne or sparkling wine is a really great way of doing it, especially if you like wonderfully accented foods that have salt in them. And I like salt, not too much, just the right amount, especially the specialty kinds of salt that we have today. This is like Himalayan salt would be really good with this, with that little piece of fish that you have that's so good. I love this to start out the evening or the day or whenever, maybe even the morning, but it is fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. It is one of the most versatile wines. It can go well with smoked salmon. When we do our bubbles and bites, we feature different cuisines from around the world, and they're paired with individual wines, but this wine is in that flight, and everybody tells us, I feel like this wine can go with everything across the board, and it really does. Everything from like duck and fish, as you mentioned.
Yep.
Really great with desserts, and berry-based desserts is a really great pairing. I love it with smoked salmon. I've really been making some spicy Thai food.
Ooh,
and these wines,
now we're talking.
Chris was mentioning, these wines are dry. They have just a touch of sweetness in them, but they really are the fruitiness of the wine really pairs well with spicy food. So I've been making it with curries and spicy pad thais and things like that.
Sold. It is fantastic, and such a nice dry finish on that too. There is a little wild strawberry more than I think about it and have it in my mouth and just savor it. And this is a great thing to do, and you've got such a great place to do it here too. But you can do it at home. You definitely can. And moving into another great subject here. So one of the greatest sparkling wines in the United States, I will say this hands down, is Reve. And that's the one that's made with Chardonnay. That's how I got to know it. But things have changed here, especially the way that Pinot Noir grapes are grown here. Much higher quality. I think we've all learned that together. I mean, me being the writer and the sommelier, I've learned from you, and especially Eileen and the team here with TJ Evans. We can't forget that guy, one of the greatest farmers around. And you know, here we are, we have great Pinot Noir grapes, and we're making a pink version of Reve, you guys. Isn't this crazy? Wow, tell us a little bit about this little gem.
Yes, so this is one of our most rare wines that we produce, very limited production, really special, definitely one of my favorites. But I really think that Eileen and Zach pioneered the style of making the Brut Rosés in-house here at Domaine Carneros so well that people were putting a lot of pressure on us to make a Reve Rosé.
Yeah.
They love that rather than adding red wine to the base wine, like a lot of people make rosé, by doing that technique that I mentioned of doing just a little bit of skin contact and making an actual rosé wine to blend in with the Pinot Noir in the Blanc de Noir style and the Chardonnay. It just makes that perfect, really delicate balance, and it's just so elegant.
It's amazing. You know, one of the great things about the Reve Chardonnay-based one that I really learned is how well it can age, too. It's not just about the here and now, but these are complex wines, and this is the thing. They are with bubbles. I mean, and that's where we're at now, is we are on that champagne level. But it took steps to get there, you know, and I give a lot of credit to other people like Ken Bernards, who worked for Domaine Chandon, and people like that that learned how to grow these grapes just to make these sparkling wines. You know, Gloria Ferrer over there around the hill. So this is the place where a lot of this was learned here in America, is right here in Carneros. And Domaine Carneros, what a fitting name for this winery, you know, and especially because, you know, the level of quality here is as high as we get, you know, anywhere in the world. And that's amazing.
Yeah, it's really great for us to have the influence of Champagne Taittinger, because if you think about the California sparkling wine industry, it's relatively new in the global sense. Stromsburg started in 1965. We started in 1987. So having the legacy of and the heritage of Champagne Taittinger behind Domaine Carneros, we've really been able to, in the early days, Eileen really was able to learn a lot from them and build upon a foundation based on their experience as well.
Yeah. This is amazing in the mouth. I mean, it's a little bit lighter, almost ethereal in the mouth and how it feels, but it has so many different kinds of complex flavors. Even on the nose, you can smell a little bit of mineral in there, and you really get into the ginger. And little touches of ginger just when you first taste this. There's a lot of fruit in there, but the elegance and, you know, just brilliant flavors that are exploding all over the mouth. It's amazing. This is really delicious. I mean, I've had it before. I've had it with Eileen. I've had it with you. We love this. We love this. We really love this.
It's the Reve-based wine.
Yeah.
Which is, as Chris has mentioned, 100% Chardonnay, but then we blend in some Pinot Noir, and that's what makes this wine so special and so unique. And to me, this just screams raw bar.
Yeah.
I just want to have, like, you know, shrimp cocktail and some like cold steamed lobster and crab, and
I'll take some mussels too, just
some
on
mussels.
the side.
There's some clams and mussels in there. Yeah, like a bouchon raw bar.
It's great. Give some creds out to Willie's in Healdsburg as well, another great raw bar.
Another favorite.
Yeah, we do like that. Cheers on that.
Cheers to that.
Yeah. Cheers to eating and drinking fine bubbles. Yeah, just on the nose, I mean, it's great. I mean, what have you found about this? This is just an amazing wine.
Well, I think the extra aging layers complexity onto it. So you get like a nice like flinty minerality, but you also get a little bit of floral notes, some toasty notes. It's just so much complexity layered over on top of that beautiful fruit that you were talking about. The Carneros, kind of like a white cherry, peachy characteristics, and then layer that with like minerality, toastiness, creaminess. It's just so luscious and delicious.
I love it. It is great. We'll have to finish this in a few, but before we do, we got to talk about still wines. And yeah, you heard me, still wines in Domaine Carneros. It's true, you guys. They make them here. They're really good. So I got the chance to sit down with TJ and Remi, you know, way earlier this year, and we really got to explore some things that are happening here. This is a really exciting period of time for Domaine Carneros, and just where the farm part has gone. It's on a different level. You guys own so many acres. How many acres do you own and operate here?
Yeah, so that's one of the things that's pretty unique about Domaine Carneros. We own all of our estate grapes, which makes us a grower-producer and using like the Champagne language. So TJ Evans, who Chris mentioned earlier, is our Pinot Noir winemaker, but he also oversees all the vineyards with Alberto Zamora. And they farm 400 acres across 6 different estates, all located either here where the chateau is or within just a couple miles of here. And so all sustainably farmed, all of our own grapes, and it's really something that makes us, you know, really stand apart from the rest.
And this is a really special one. I kind of asked for it to be broken out just for us because I just love drinking this. This is Ciel Serein, and one of the great things about it, let me show you guys. Is that it has, this is the Hansel clone, and really where we go as far as the history of the modern history of where we're at today for Pinot Noir here. We got to give some credits to our friends right over the hill from us here, which is Hansel, which started in the 1950s. Ambassador Zellerbach was he was hooked on it. He was one of the U.S. ambassadors to Europe, and he came back and he said, I want to start growing Pinot Noir. I've been to Burgundy and I want this. There was history here in Carneros, and it's especially right back there at the Stanley Ranch, and it goes back to the 1870s, and a lot of people don't know this. They think, oh, Pinot Noir is brand new here. No. It's been here, we just didn't know what to do with it, especially on a scale of anything. And that's what I think, being out there in the vineyards with you and TJ, it's really important. I mean, you as the winemaker and the overseer here, and Zach and TJ, you guys are all a super team. It's all important to every bit of that 400 acres is important to you, just like it is to TJ and to Zach. And now we've got these great still wines too. I feel like Carneros wasn't as well known for the still wines. It was known for the Carneros Chardonnays, don't get me wrong there. But the Pinots weren't there yet, and now they are there. And we're bottling them, and this is amazing. Tell us a little bit about this program.
Yeah, it's so amazing to see where Carneros is with Pinot Noir right now, and especially like the proliferation of smaller but very high-end producers that's happening right now in Carneros is really exciting. And for me as a viticulturist, my background was in grape growing. I was really attracted to Domaine Carneros because of their dedication to estate-grown fruit. And really love working with both Zach and TJ, who have deep knowledge of the vineyards. TJ, when I started here, told me that we had over 20 clones of Pinot Noir planted on the estate. And this is a single vineyard, Le Ciel Serein. It comes from our beautiful Rolling Hill Sonoma property. And like Chris mentioned, this has a large percentage of the Hansel clone in it, which is a heritage clone. We also have some other California heritage clones like Swan out there. But then we blend it with a little bit of Dijon clones, so that classic, brighter, fruitier. Like the heritage clones to me give a little bit more earthy spiciness and really like that unique character. The Dijon clones, which are very popular across many regions in California, in Oregon, in France, gives that like nice core of just like delicious, voluptuous fruit. Yeah,
and it's got all of that. I mean, on the nose, it is so pretty. There are blackberries, and there are black raspberries, and there are cherries, and there are everything going on in here. There's also a little bit of that lovely mushroom, kind of like black fungi, almost like black trumpet mushrooms. And how'd they get in here? I don't know, but it just smells like it,
Yeah, you really get the terroir, like a little bit of that kind of peaty mushroom characteristic. I really love
peaty, indeed.
Like a little bit of allspice that's going on here, maybe like sandalwood.
Yeah.
It's really a nice interplay of complexity here. It's not just all fruit, but it has earthiness and spice all combined.
Yeah, and this is a little bit cooler area right over the hill from us here. I mean, it gets sun, don't get me wrong, but it also gets the wind first before it even comes here. And it's really hitting it hard there. And the thing is, you could look right over the hill, or from there, and you can see Hansel sitting right out there. And it's one of those beacons of Pinot Noir lovers. If you know Hansel, then you get it. And the Swan clone, too, is another one that came over here to Northern California and has become very successful. And using these clones and using them in the right wines is really a key thing. And I just love how we're talking about this here at Domaine Carneros. You know, and we're not just talking about bubbles anymore. We're talking about everything, you guys. Everything that we love about still wines and sparkling wines.
Yeah, we started making Pinot Noir here at Domaine Carneros in 1992. TJ Evans has been our Pinot Noir winemaker since 2008, and he's just such a guru and genius with all of the different clones and how to interplay between the vineyard and the terroir. And so we make several different Pinot Noirs that range as single vineyards and single clones, in addition to our beautiful estate and famous escape blends.
That's great. There's also another little characteristic that just popped up open to me, and it's the blue fruit characteristic. There is definitely a little bit of that blueberry in here as well. And I just think it's that terroir, but it's also how these are ripened perfectly. It's still got natural acidity. It's bright. What I love about it, it's even vegan, you guys. So you guys are doing a lot of stuff, you know, naturally. I mean, you're in a lot of different foundations, and you're certified in many different ways. You really care about the earth, don't you?
Absolutely, yes. And I think that was an important value from the beginning in the establishment of Domaine Carneros. We have so many different initiatives in terms of our sustainability that, like you said, we've got like 4 different certifications. And we're always pushing the envelope. Like right now, we're building a microgrid. So in 2003, we built the largest solar facility for any winery in the world. Wow. But now we have to keep pushing the envelope, right? So right now we're building what's called a microgrid, which is going to build and add more panels to our solar system, but also add a battery so that the excess energy that we generate will go to the grid, to our own grid, and then we can use it when the power's out, if there's outages around California, or at night, so we can really be a self-sustaining entity and really use the power that we're generating.
Well, that's fantastic. I mean, this is what a great thing. So when people come by here, I mean, this is one of the most beautiful buildings you'll ever see in wine country. There's just no doubt about that. We also have to understand there's a lot going on here, and this commitment to quality, this commitment to you know, protecting the environment, and to grow grapes that are world-class grapes at all times. All times, no doubt. That's a commitment, and it's always here. And it's just great to have you here too, Remi. And
yeah, thank you.
You know, I promise that I will do a show with TJ where we go out to the vineyards at some point next year, and as soon as possible, in fact, because he's such a great guy. And once you guys meet him, I consider him a good friend, and you understand these people. It's not just about what happens here, and it's all about what goes into this bottle. It starts in the vineyards. There's no doubt about that. And these vineyards are awesome. 400 acres, you guys. So yes, we see Domaine Carneros as we drive along this wonderful road here, but there's so much more behind the story. And these wines, there's a lot more behind that. So cheers to this, and let's drink some more of this.
Cheers, Chris. Thank you so much.
You got it. Cheers.